Yeah. You good, fam?
Hey,
We out here.
look.
Big week this
I
week.
wish everyone could tell me exactly what they need from me. The first second they speak to me, I'm not with all the secrecy, secretly beefing me. Behind closed doors, be playing it peacefully for the streets to see. My nigga
We got a lot of things in store.
Don't move like a puto. Could at least keep it.
Weekly check-in. You good, fam? Big week coming up, man. I'm excited to build on it. Discuss some of the things that we got in store.
There's a mass shortage of people giving
Yeah. Shout out to the brother Symbolic. As always, man, coming through. SFA fam. We're out here building, connecting, making things happen, man. Yo, shout out to everyone that's been pulling up, man, for our weekly check-in. You good, fam? This week, man, is wow, man. We got Manifesto, man. 15 years of Manifesto, so we're going to be spending some time dedicating to a lot of the energy, the creative spaces in the city, and then also what Stone from Africa has in store, man. So we're going to get into that in a bit, man, but big up everyone who's coming through. As we know, when we start, we like to do a little check-in, so if you want to let us know how you're feeling on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not so great, 10 being fantastic, amazing, all that good stuff, let us know. Hope y'all enjoying your long weekend. It's Virgo season. My birthday's in like 2 days, man, so I'm just getting amped. This is my weather, it's my season. I got the hoodies out and everything, man. Like this is what it is. So that being said, brother, man, how you feeling today, man? What's going on? How you feeling?
I'm all right, man. I'd say I'm about a 7.
A 7? Okay. And why is that, man? Anything exciting or anything that's been going on last week, man, since we connected?
Well, I apologize because, as is routine, what I do is like I open up and start sending. You good, fam? You good, fam? I send it out.
No worries.
If I look gaze over, I'm like, I'm about a 7. I'm just letting heads know. But nah. So it was actually it was an interesting week.
Okay.
Things are always popping on the NFT side of thing, NFT music and Black NFT worldwide. So that's on one side. I'm about to drop this NFT track with on the near blockchain, mint base and all that. And so I was scoping out locations. I was filming and so forth. So that's pretty cool. And then I don't know if you remember, but months back when I've been having to go through this G licensing again as a grown ass person. And so I got someone on the phone who's like, come in and ask for me. So I get it in my head that I'm gonna Jedi them. I'm gonna be like, it would be, this would all be so much smoother. Are you qualified to give me the test right now?
Right.
It didn't quite go like that, but what they did do is they're like, all right, someone there recognized me and was like, all right, well, just don't say anything. Like, when do you want to do your test? And I'm like, Monday. And they're like, Monday's a holiday. I'm like, Tuesday. So the highway test was fast tracked. So on the low, this is a safe family environment. So I'm happy about that because I feel like I got thrown back in the baby license just because I was not driving. I'm in the city and I'm time passed. And they're like, dude, we don't know if you know how to drive anymore. Maybe you should give us more money. So I'm happy to be almost through that. I'll make that my story.
That's what's up, man. Blessings. All right, man.
You, how are you doing, bro?
Me, I'm doing blessed, man. Oh, got a little visitor here. I'm doing blessed, man. I'm feeling about like an 8, 9. This is my birthday week. We got Manifesto coming up. We got the summit. We're going to be discussing a lot of amazing things. So my energy is up. You know what I mean? I like this time of the year. When September hits, the weather shifts immediately. It's right away. It feels like fall. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it brings in this energy of preparation. You know what I mean? Because it's giving you the warning. It's yo, winter's coming. We're going to give you some grace period to prepare. Get your mind right. Because when it comes through. You know what I mean? So it changes my mind from that Leo season, August, September weather where you're just yeah. Now it's yo, we got to get down to business now. You know what I'm saying? Still have fun, but now we got to prioritize. You know what I'm saying? So I feel really, really, really good. You know what I mean? Turning 39. You know, it's my last year in my 30s, so I just feel blessed, you know, because, you know, from hip hop culture, we have this mindset where it's like we're supposed to live only to the age of 25. Like, I don't even know where that even comes from, but somehow we're conditioned to believe this narrative that is true. And I'm excited to just keep evolving. Like, you know, I feel better than ever. I'm more in tune to myself, and, you know, I'm excited for like what the future holds. And a lot of the connections and people I've been building with have been feeling that. So I feel good, man. I feel good. You know what I mean? So,
yo, I'm glad that you said that, because I always feel like a certain amount of dread in the fall because I know the winter's coming. I always say I save all my complaints for the winter. It'll be boiling hot. I'm sweating, and I'm like, and people are like, "You okay, man?" I'm like, "I'm good. I'm good. No complaints. No complaints in the summer." So, like, I have a different way that I look at the changing of the season, because I'm like, oh, it's almost done. It's almost going to be freezing. But I like that, you know, you present it like that. It's like a time of preparation. And, yeah, and then the other thing you said that I love is well, shoot, it made me think about, I posted recently about what our nature, like, and what we've been trained to think we live only till 40, or like that's old. And the same thing with nature. I just recently posted on that, because like this whole urban thing, this whole we are perpetually children. Nah, none of that. That's all gotta go. And we from here, you good fam, we're laying it out. Nah, we want to get old. We want to be in nature and chill out. Yeah, man. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah. But like I said, like, and I think just to go back, and I don't want to spend too much time this little, but just like the time of the year that I'm born, like, you know, being a Virgo and whatnot, and, you know, September, like my birthday usually falls on like the first day of school and whatnot. So like people aren't really in this like celebratory like mood, you know what I mean? It's already in that energy of preparation, new beginnings and whatnot. So it almost feels like a new year. I mean, well, everyone's birthday is a new year, you know what I'm saying? But like, it just really has that energy. And I've learned to really just like appreciate what every season offers, because every season brings a different kind of energy. So these days I try not to complain. I mean, yeah, there's going to be, you know, inconveniences and whatnot, but like, you know, if you're prepared accordingly, then it's fine. You know what I mean? Like the cold weather, as long as you're dressed for it. And let me make this clear, man. Timberlands are not winter boots, fam. Yo, you need some like Sorels, man. You need some other joints. I mean, that will change the game. I promise you. Because yo, Timberlands, man, you don't want icicle toes, man. I'm telling you, man. So I'm gonna get off that. I know there's some comments in the chat. Today we're going to be discussing Manifesto Festival, man. 15 years of the festivities, man, creating a space, a platform for artists to showcase their arts and whatnot. Symbolic and myself have been around in the hip hop scene to know what was life like before Manifesto and where things have gone now, where there wasn't any resources. We just had to kind of like make something out of nothing. You know what I mean? Like the resources were hanging out in the staircases, hanging out in the alleyways. You know what I mean? Those were the festivals. You feel me? But we're gonna get into that in a bit. Let me just
let me give a quick read. I see here we got the artist, Giving Peace. We got Wisecrack One. Yo, I'm sorry. I saw he said something, but then I went back. But it's actually has a long description. But let me get to what he said. I think he said 10 out of 10, but I'm trying to find it right now. I'm sorry. Yeah. And then we got Nubian Brothers Talk. Done. Tell them again. I don't know what that part was too, but you know, maybe about preparation. But it's true. It's true. Yeah, man. And then Nubian Brothers gave a greetings to all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. But yeah, like, you know, like I just want to just go back to that again. Like, it's all about preparation for you know the seasons to come, you know, and it's like a spiritual time of the year for like a lot of people. I know it's like Rosh Hashanah for you know the Jewish folks and whatnot, and there's all kinds of stuff, you know what I mean, going on. But a great time for reflection and whatnot. Oh, Nubian Brothers talking about like the Tims.
Oh,
that's a fashion thing, man. That's great for the fall season. And then, I mean, maybe in the summertime, if you're from New York, you know that we're the Timberlands and the jean shorts and whatnot. But Yo, those are fall boots, you know what I mean? But not winter, man. You want those icicle toe walking around, screw face, upset. Nah, man. You want those cozy boots, man. You walking around splashing, just being like, yo, man, everything's blessed, man. You be outside in the wintertime for like 2 hours and be like, I'm good. It's like, you good, fam? Like, yeah, but I'm blessed.
Yeah. And then like a nice proper jacket. You gotta have that.
Have to.
Or you're suffering, and that is not cool at all.
Don't be afraid of wearing long johns too, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, but get the ones that don't itch.
For real. Yo, layers are vital. Yo, long johns, or if you put whatever type of, track pants underneath, doesn't matter. That's what it's all about. It's all about warmth. That's what the style is in the winter. That's, if you ask me.
And that's it. You know what I mean? It's just really like a preparation for the seasons. You know what I mean? Let's know. And for me, it's just being more in sync with like the cycles of nature. You know, you can't resist the elements, man. It's coming. Like, winter is inevitable. You can't escape it, especially where we live. You know what I mean? So you got to learn to embrace and enjoy it, man. That's why you see me skating. You see me doing all kinds of things to just like embrace it. You know what I mean? And then when the weather gets warmer, I'm even more appreciative. I'm like, yo, that I'm swimming. I'm out in nature. I'm outside, like just sitting around, like just embracing it all, man. So I encourage everyone, man, to, you know what I mean? Like, embrace the challenges, because these challenges bring new understandings and whatnot of ourselves and our connection to this planet. You know what I mean? So I see.
Yo, a quick pass. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Just bring it. All right. So we got a True Dat from King Spade, and then Nubian Brothers talks, and make sure to get a bomber that makes me sweat with a T-shirt on underneath. So in other words, like, warm. You could have a T-shirt under that, yes. And then you could put some hoodie or whatever if it's really, really negative double digits.
Yo, fam, like, that's me all day. I love sweaters or whatever, but there's nothing more than I like to wear is like a nice warm jacket with a T-shirt under. So people see me oftentimes like, yo, like, you wearing a T-shirt in the middle of winter? It's like, yo, because I'm warm, fam. I zip up my coat, nothing is getting through. So I like that balance, you know what I mean? Because sometimes when you wear too much layers, and then if you're like traveling on like public transit and whatnot, man, it gets mad hot, like, you know what I'm saying? So I like wearing, you know what I mean, like the heavy, like warm, you know, like insulated jacket, and then a T-shirt under, man. That's my steez right there, man. You already know. Those who know,
you guys are showing me something new, because that's never crossed my mind. So all right, I see you.
It's a flex still. But anyway, man. But yo, man, we're gonna get into it, man. So yo, right now, man, we come up to festival season. Manifesto's 15-year anniversary, man. It was crazy, man. It started back in like 2007. 2006 was kind of like the ideas were circulating, and then it came about in 2007. This year, Stone from Africa, we're going to be supporting the panel on Thursday. Everyone, like, I'm gonna, when this gets uploaded on the channel, I'm gonna put some links in the description so y'all can go over to Manifesto, or you can check out Manifesto's page right now, and then go to their website and register. Like the festival, which is on this Saturday, which is now free. They waived the fee. It was a fee before. Now it's free, and I heard that tickets are going fast, so y'all may want to register right now. And then the summit, which is also going to be in person as well as virtual, is happening this Thursday. There's a whole like list of people that are coming on, but we, Stone from Africa, are going to be hosting a panel at 4 o'clock, 4 till 5:30, and that is going to be called Hip Hop's Role in Raising Consciousness. You know what I mean? So we're going to be discussing some really interesting topics and whatnot. And we have an incredible panel, which I'll get into a little bit later. But I want to, get some space for the brother Symbolic, man, because I know that you've been involved in the Toronto hip hop scene since, like, the early days, man, like Planet Mars and, you know what I mean, like Elemental and, you know what I mean, like all these different spaces like Reverb and spaces that don't even exist anymore, the Big Bop, like, Beat Junkie, like all these spots that were known for like hip hop, So before we get to the festival, like maybe you want to give us a little like insight of like what like the scene was like in the earlier days, you know what I mean? Like the struggle of trying to come together as a community, what kind of supports were available, where did people go to come together to build and to believe in this art form?
Yeah, man. Well, just to keep it, that connection with Manifesto, it's really just so interesting to come to a point where, you you're having this conversation, you're facilitating, you've got space and to like focus your energy on a topic like that. And so, you know, back then though, it was like, I think of it like alchemy, you know. We had only ideas, we had what we like, we had a vision, and we knew we loved hip hop. And let's remember, like, there was a whole lot of positive hip hop, nation building hip hop.
Okay.
And so now we had to, you know, we say, okay, we want to like do a jam or a show, and everyone would play as many roles as need be. So, you know, I'd be performing at Planet Mars, but I'll be like moving chairs if I need to move chairs. Or like you mentioned Elemental, I was always like how, you know, now whether it's NFTs or 360 VR, this or that, I've always been into the tech. But of course the balance, like, you know, there's the tech, but then there's the human aspect of it. So recording of true events and so forth. So back in those days, Elemental was going on. I met a mentor named Mike Shell, who was streaming live to the internet. How I met him, actually, I went to see DJ Sirius with Phil from our old crew, and Sirius is streaming live to the internet. I'm like, what's this all about? And so I was like, oh, I'd love to learn about this. So then we ended up streaming like Bahamadia, the Bahamadia Elemental, and like hieroglyphics and all kinds of different things like that. But the bottom line is we had to take like leftover spots, like spots that, you know, no, like holes in the wall. Like the South African Center was where, not to disrespect it, but you literally had to go in a back alley, around the corner, down the stairs to find you to get to this place. Other places were like, nah, we don't deal with hip hop. No, we don't deal with that music. So yeah, man, that's what I would say. Like institutionally, and right now we can see that hip hop is clearly dominant. And yeah, that goes into some other stuff, but I would say like it was, you know, even graffiti. Yo, when you go and like look at how you can find graffiti, beautiful graphs, and you can find sanctioned walls, people are getting paid from that. So these are all things that it wasn't like that. So I think it's really worth just considering how far it's come. But then we should be really, I like your word, intentional about, yo, Kemya in the house. Yeah, man, like, and speaking of which, because this is a brother, I don't know if I'm pointing to the right way on all screens, but, you know, dealing with message music. And that's what I was always about. But at the same time, I mean, I would say back then, let's say Biz Marquee picking boogers, it was like people would just rhyme about anything. But then you had like the X Clan, you had, you know, so I would just to summarize it, I would say, you know, we have made do out of whatever, so it made for like adaptability and versatility. But at the same time, you know, hip hop was, you had to go seeking for it.
Yeah, I like what you said there, man, because it seems like it just kept everything like in this like state of like innovation. Because like you said, like there would be like this, you know, places that would exist, they get shut down, and you all had to be quick on your feet to figure out what's going to be next. And whatever obstacles that came around did not stop the movement. You know what I'm saying? Like that did not stop the movement. So we're gonna continue that conversation, but I just want to big up Kemya, you know what I mean, for coming through, and shout out to everyone in the chat. You know what I mean? I see just said talking about Timberlands are not winter boots. You're mad facts. They look great.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Yes, man. Big up and his creations. Hope I pronounced that correctly. Says greetings, brothers. Great to be here, everyone. And yeah, man. So for those who are just joining us, man, if you want to, you know, let us know how you're feeling on a scale from 1 to 10. You know, it's our virtual check-in every Monday. You good fam. You'll let us know how you're feeling. 1 being not so great, 10 being amazing. Put that in the chat and we'll bid you up. Kemya, man, that being said, y'all joining us. How are you feeling, man? What's going on? How you feeling?
Feeling great, man. Feeling great. I'm at a 10, you know.
Jeez.
Can't complain. Can't complain at all. It's a good day, man. It's a good day, you know. Just enjoying everything that life has to offer, you know. Just being more in the now, you know what I mean? Being present in the now and just enjoying all that now has to offer. So I can't complain, man.
Okay, that's peace, man. Give thanks, man. So I see Nubian brother talking about remember the protests and much music for PE. I don't know.
Public Enemy.
When much band welcome to the Terrordome. Oh, I don't. Hey, bro, I don't know if you want to jump in on the conversation. You don't just send me a link to add you on because I want to hear these stories, man. Like I
don't know about
that, but Public Enemy. Speaking of like consciousness to hip hop, you know what I mean, or hip hop's role in raising consciousness. Public Enemy was like my first like introduction. Like my dad used to always play like It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. That album in his cassette in his car like religiously. And
Jeez.
And just to speak on Public Enemy because it was brought up, not just the music that got mixed up, but if there was a skit in particular, and it was at the beginning of like the song called I think it was like The Night of the Living like Bassheads or something like that. And it was a quote from the brother there. I forgot his name. You probably know what I'm talking about, but it goes, "Once we were brought here, we were robbed of our name, robbed of our language. We lost our religion, our culture, our God. And many of us, we yak, we even lost our mind." And like, like even as a youth, like that, like, and you know, that got planted in my subconscious. I was just like, yo, like, what is really going on here? Like that. And as I progressed throughout my journey, that has been becoming more and more and more like prominent and evident. I think like that's like the roots, the subconscious roots of Stolen from Africa. Like that, I was like a youth, you know, that album came out like 88, you know what I mean? So 80, 89 or something like that. So, you know what I mean? I was mad young, but I remember bumping this and being like, yo, man, this is what it is. Yes, man. Yes.
That's incredible.
Exactly. Yeah. Yo, check out that brother on YouTube, man. There's bare archive videos, man. The way how that brother speaks, whoo. Hard.
Khalid Muhammad. Man, check him out.
Yeah. That was that skit, man.
Oh, is that who it was?
Yeah, the sample, you know? So those blessed, though.
Yo,
well, we'll see if we can get brother to come through.
That was my first concert I ever went to was Public Enemy.
Wow.
And hell yeah. So I just want to,
Peace, everybody.
Let me just give a quick read here, just before we continue. Let me just say, I see someone say, King Spade, I remember live at the barbecue was a big thing back in the 90s. And yes, absolutely. If you don't, that was like, they would pack, people would just be packed in the room and you hear the joints, like the barbecue. Yes. Anyways.
Remember Queen Jasmine?
Queen Jasmine. No.
It was a club down on Queen Street where it was a lounge and you had a DJ playing instrumental hip hop and you had a three-piece jazz band playing over the instrumental hip hop.
That's crazy.
Live on stage. And that was all night.
Wow.
In Toronto.
It was like mid-90s, every Wednesday night.
That's before me, man.
What was the band? I'm thinking Pocket. Remember Pocket Dwellers? They were.
Yeah.
There wasn't them though.
No.
It was another one.
I think it was Pocket Dwellers because it was a flute, a trumpet, and a saxophone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's before my time. See, I grew up on the era like. I grew up like in terms of Toronto classic hip hop. Like I grew up on like Socrates, on K9, also I grew up on K9, but like growing up listening to Flow and whatnot, like you know Socrates, Big Sock, Point Blank, the Raptors, you know what I'm saying? Obviously Cardi, you know what I'm saying? Mishi Me, you know, like that's the that's the era of Toronto hip hop I grew up on, right? Like even the first time I ever hit a stage in Toronto or like ever performed like my own piece of work for the first time. Neil, I think you were there actually. Yeah. It was years ago. I opened up for Bona Muhammad. That was the first time I ever touched the stage. You know what I'm saying? First time I ever. That's when I knew I was like, oh yeah, this is what I gotta do with my life. Like,
that's what's up. That's what's up.
Well, you have to remember back in our time because. I remember Symbolic one. I remember you from Concert All Days. I remember you from Concert All Days. I don't know if you remember this space, but I remember you from Concert All Days.
Okay.
But back in Concert All Days, all you had to do was send a demo tape to Ron Nelson at 88.1. And if it sounds good, you're on stage performing. You know what I'm saying? Because I was with a group called West End Projects.
Okay.
And we did 2 songs on the radio. And we ended up opening up for KRS-One and Just Ice. And Concert All.
Y'all remember Just Ice?
Come on.
Hell yeah, but Just Ice is like, ooh, wicked.
Well, we got me and my boy B Boy. We got to take him around Eaton Center downtown and everything. Just the three of us. Crazy, crazy.
Yeah,
I'm from an era where I'll give you another story. It was Eden Center Saturday afternoon. We're all chilling in the lobby.
Yeah.
Who comes up the escalator? Donald D.
Say a word.
Who comes up behind him? Everlast.
Just walking around.
Wait a minute. Something's going on here. The entire Rhyme Syndicate came. The entire Rhyme Syndicate came downtown 1 week before their show.
Wow.
So we saw Ice-T, Darlene, Divine Styler. Everybody showed up at Eden Center. It was crazy.
But you know what's funny? I find that when it comes to Toronto, like I've met like amazing like iconic like hip hop personalities just walking freely in Toronto. It's not like in the States. Like I remember like a while ago when I was still involved with Manifesto and like I used to hang around a lot with Famous. You know Famous Neil from Flow, right? Famous used to bring me everywhere because like at those times, like I was trying to stay out of trouble. So he's like, "No, you got heart, kid. Let me keep you out of trouble. Come follow me, right?" So like I remember we left we did a show at like the high school I was at, a Black History show. I think you were there too, Neil.
I have that footage.
Yeah, you've been around some time. Holy shit. Neil's been part of my journey for a while, but like we did a show at my high school, and then Famous is like, "Yo, Mees, come on, let's go." I'm gonna meet DJ Drama. We're gonna do something with DJ Drama. I'm like, DJ Drama. I'm like DJ like Gangsta Grills, DJ Drama. He's like, yeah. I followed this guy downtown, and like we're at a McDonald's chilling with DJ Drama. I'm sitting down with DJ Drama downtown at McDonald's, and I'm like, yo, the man am I never gonna believe this.
But yo, like that's exactly what like Toronto is, and a lot of American artists like like come up here for that exact experience. Because like in the States, it's like it's insane. You know what I mean? Like people literally chasing mans, and it's like everywhere popping.
Man, 300 million people, right?
Yeah. In Toronto, like we don't really watch that kind of face, but we're just like, oh, there's the man then. You know what I mean? And,
yeah, thanks.
You know what I mean? So they do that. But before we get into because I want to hear about this like Public Enemy like protests. I want to hear.
Oh, okay.
But Symbolic, man. If you want to get into the chats real quick, I saw there's some feedback. I don't know if you can scroll up.
All right. Well, let me see what I can make out here. So King Spade mentioned, they were part of Ghetto Concept. Big up Ghetto Concept.
Ghetto Concept was a big
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Crazy World's one of my favorite like Toronto videos. Like just the way how it captures like downtown Toronto, like because it's changed a lot now. You know what I mean? So it's like this like historical like document now. But anyways, yeah, man.
I actually knew those brothers before they hooked up.
Okay.
Because Golo used to be a dancer.
Okay.
And Quattro was always known as a boy wonder. So he was always rhyming. So then they hooked up and they started rhyming.
Jeez. History, man. History.
Yo.
Now, y'all want to hear?
Oh, sorry. Let me just quickly finish through this. Art artist says SFA, nice. Yeah. Art the artist, Divine Styler. Wow. Let's see. And I think we're caught up with that. So yeah, let's get into this. What happened with that?
Okay, it's about 89, 90, and MTV had banned the video. Welcome to the Terror Dome. So then Much Music decided to ban the video. And then when the word got out in the streets, a whole bunch of us went down to Much Music and actually protested right in front of the building. And what was her name again? The reporter from City TV back in the days, Ann Roskowski. She interviewed me. OG. She interviewed me and she asked me, okay, why are you guys protesting? So I told her what was going on. And then she mentioned about something like what Griff said about Jews. I says, well, I don't hear anybody proving him wrong.
Okay.
And she goes, thank you, and left. And then they played it on the news and they showed my face, but they never played my voice.
Okay. Got
right.
it out.
But it was the middle of winter. I'll never forget. Snow was coming down, and we didn't care. We were there. We got there about 1 o'clock. We left there about 7 at night.
See what that tells me though? That tells me that the power of conscious or message music had affected the people so much that regardless of what the weather situation was or what was going on in the climate, that they didn't stand up necessarily for the artist, but for the message that the artists were bringing. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like, I don't know, today it's hard to find that kind of message in hip hop, right? Like I just find it hard to find music like that still moves your soul, you know what I'm saying? That affects your psyche so much that it pushes you to want to do what's morally correct or stand up or fight back or, you know, however we want to word it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hearing that's mind blowing for me to know that, like, at that time in Toronto, conscious music had affected the people so much, you know what I'm saying? That they were out in the streets protesting, like, yo, what are you guys doing banning this video? You get what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. That's a piece of history right there.
I mean, like, maybe y'all can, like, because, you know, this is kind of leading up to, like, you know, the panel that we're having on Thursday with the Manifesto Summit, which is hip hop's role in raising consciousness. You know, brother, that I'm curious to know, like, what was happening at that period of time that made people so convicted with the music. Now, I understand that hip hop wasn't, like, you know, as accessible. It was a little more underground and kind of like, you know, you had to be an active participant in it. So I think that might have had something to do with it as well, though. But what was like that spark that made people want to, like, actually, like, take action and move forward? And you know, like, what was happening at the time? Do you feel?
It was still new.
Okay.
Because hip hop didn't fully come into effect in Toronto until like the early 80s. But by the 90s, when that time period, we already had X-Clan, we already had Paris, Full Righteous Features and all them cats. Right. So we were already latched on to that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So anything that happened to any of those artists, we were behind them 100%.
Right.
And at the same time, we in Toronto was trying to make a name for ourselves through hip hop by doing our own thing. Right. You had mans like Ron Nelson that would put together something called a peace jam, where it would be only local acts. Right. The entire night, like 10, 12 local acts. Right. You know, and it just gave people a whole new view of the world. Right? Because we're now viewing it through not just hip hop eyes, our own eyes. Right. And we get to see exactly what Toronto was like, because it was back then, through the music, I found out Canada was the birthplace of subtle racism.
Talk the thing.
I learned that through hip hop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I'm like I said, it was a time where everybody was trying to grasp their own thing, do their own thing, and see their own thing at the same time, because we had access to radio stations that would play our music all the time. Just send it, they'll play it. Right. The radio station, and it was something that we looked forward to.
Okay. Yeah.
How that cat sound? Yo, that cat's nice. Yo, what she rhymes? Yo, let me hear what she sound. So we were always anticipating the next person to come up and say, yo, let's elevate Toronto and let's bring it up.
I like
and it got to the point. It got to, and the thing is, we embraced hip hop and we strengthened hip hop so much in Toronto that right now, as the four of us are talking, and I did the research, we are still the only city in Canada to have local rappers battle established rappers.
Word.
2 summers in a row. Battle part 1. You had Roxanne Shante taking on 2 females from Scarborough.
Word.
Bismarcky took on 2 dudes from Scarborough in beatboxing competition. You had Cupmaster DC go up against a DJ. In battle part 2, I believe MC Rumble battled KRS-One, and somebody battled Kane.
Wow. Okay.
Right? It was crazy. Never been done before. So none of these guys have any records out, but they're battling people who already have records.
That hunger, that drive.
That's exactly what it is. It's hunger and drive. And we had it. Like, we brought it. You know what I'm saying? We actually brought it. So yeah,
I kind of want to just, like, pose this question, though, because, like, I think this conversation would help me form some like questions for the panel that's happening, which I'll get into a little bit later. But, you know, so, you know, the topic is, you know, hip hop's role in raising consciousness. You know, so I'm curious to know, like, what are some, like, perspectives on that, especially knowing the foundation of hip hop, like where it started from, like you said, like having that looking forward to and coming off of like X-Clan and PE and and a certain vibration to like where it's at now. Like, you know, there's like, for me, like hip hop will always represent or give us like an idea of like a pulse of the youth, whether we like it or not. Like hip hop is a youth movement, so it will really give us an understanding of where the energy is, whether we like it or not. You know what I mean? And I can see that, you know, things have definitely shifted a lot over the years, and there's many reasons for that. But in terms of like, you know, like hip hop's role in raising our conscience, not just music, like I'm talking outside of music, because even what you described with the Public Enemy and whatnot, that's bigger than music. You know what I mean? That's a community thing. Like you said, anyone who's dealing with any one of these artists, we're coming through. Like that's bigger than music to me. You know what I mean? But I see symbolically, you got something.
Just a quick fast thing, as far as something I've observed, if for it to have that consciousness, it can't be controlled by racists and by just capitalism. It just can't be.
Ooh,
that's it. Because racists don't. They're like, yeah, great. They're talking about killing each other. That sounds great to me. I've just raised that that concern to the ignorant, and I've had someone say, "Oh, well, it's just them being real," and I'm like, "Yo, they're creating." This is that same what I was saying about you know, bringing something out of nothing. What you're creating is that same death and destruction, if that's what you speak. But back in those days, we're talking about building, about grass being on the streets, hip hop, and now it happens. So imagine if we're doing the destructive one, and if it's just for money, same thing. They don't care about the culture. It's gonna be you're not gonna elevate if it's just about the money. We could go look at pop music. Pop music was already there, and we're like, it's boring. Hip hop came along. Oh shit, this is. They didn't even want. Actually, they were like, nah, that's not music. Forget it. We're like, yeah, whatever. Keep going.
Right. That's right.
So those are the two things that come to my mind.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, brother. Nubian, yeah, go ahead.
Well, what we got to do is first we need to embrace all the elements again.
Okay,
the elements aren't being embraced again because, for instance, if you look at the world beatboxing competition, it's all white people, and all they're doing beatboxing EDM beats.
Right.
So beatboxing is slowly coming out of hip hop, even though we know it's one of the elements. So we have to embrace all the elements again.
Gotcha.
Get the b-boys back in again. Get the DJ competitions rolling again. You know, like I'm missing all those things. The DJ competition was always something that we look forward to.
Those
always.
DMC championships, man, those are hard, yo.
The DMCs, the ITFs, we even had our own here before all of that.
Okay.
Ron Nelson put together a DJ competition here. That's how DJ Power got noticed.
Come on.
Because he won the competition, yeah. At that time, he was 16 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were already having our own things here while New York was doing theirs. So originality.
Yeah.
Bring back originality.
Yeah. Big time.
Stop trying to be like the dude in the States. Be you.
Be you. Word.
But I think for a while, like Toronto, we had our identity. You know what I mean? Because like even like I said, when I grew growing up on hip hop, like it was solely based on Toronto hip hop. Like I knew other acts, right? Like I knew the Nas, the Jiggas, and I listened to them occasionally, but not as much as I listened to Flow. Right, I had a radio in my room, and that shit was on Flow 93.5 from AM to PM and never turned off. You know what I'm saying? Because at the time, at least, Flow played mostly local acts, right? If I wanted to hear Chaos, I'm going to Flow. I want to hear Melanie Fiona, I'm going to Flow. I want to hear, I don't know, Socrates, Age, you know what I'm saying? Like, Tona, you know what I'm saying? Ghetto Concept, the Rascals, Point Blank, you know what I'm saying? Whoever, like Frankie Payne, aka Juggernaut, like I'm going to Flow to hear these guys, you know what I mean? And then as time progressed, right, I guess, you know, hip hop became very more commercial than underground, I would say, right? Because like what we're talking about was staying true to the underground roots of hip hop. That's why, you know, you got a lot of local acts that were promoted and so on and so forth, right? But as it became a lot more commercial, even within the city, right, you don't really hear the support of these real hip hop local artists. It's mostly what's promoted out there, right? Like what Symbolic was saying, like if it's not about violence, right? As if that's all hip hop has to offer, right? Like I rarely hear conscious hip hop anymore, and I don't even know what is considered conscious hip hop anymore. To be truthful, you know what I'm saying? I don't hear like outside of gang shit. I don't hear much other type of hip hop. It's like that's all hip hop has to offer now. You get what I mean? So if there's a way to return to a place where at least it's balanced, right? Because I still believe that we need some of the street shit. We need street rappers. We need hip hop. Like we need the gangster aspect, of course, right? But we also need the conscious brothers. We need we need the different aspects of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I need to be able to go downtown Toronto some days and still see motherfuckers breakdancing like back in the day. I don't see that shit no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, even then I used to see there's people, guys, I don't remember what they're called. Them niggas used to break dance all the time. I was like, yo, you guys make me want to break dance. I go down there, I don't see that no more, you know what I'm saying? Right by Spadina, there used to be gangs of cats that used to graffiti some hip hop stuff. I don't see that no more. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, I just want to add to like to be fair, like it does exist in small pockets. Like there are a few MCs that are still like, you know,
like they're practically, if you're not in those pockets, you don't know about them.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah, like every now and then I'll see some breakers and some MCs just doing it like from that authentic place. You know what I mean? And that's I just want to go through some of these comments here, man. King Spades was talking about how we had identity, but no business sense when it came to selling our merch. We had to leave Canada to go to the US and sell our products. And the first thing that comes to mind when I hear that reminds me of like 100 Miles and, you know, Two Black Guys. When you see Tupac rocking the 100 Miles, still one of my favorite. I got that sweater just because of that. Because Tupac was my favorite artist, and I seen that, and I was like, yo, this is local. And then Mary J. Blige, even Biggie rocking 100 Miles and all these different, you know, local brands. And it's like, how did this even happen? Like, man, it's had to go to the States and make the connection and whatnot, you know what I mean, and build it up. But yeah, we did have an identity, or we do, but things have shifted. I just want to bring up a point that when I think of like another shift that's happened in hip hop, the direction was like, you know, was like, yes, like the pop culture, like the commerce aspect of it, like the selling of records. And when the marketing started going more towards like feeding into the desires of like what, like, I guess like white suburban kids wanted to hear, you know, when we look at like the, you know, the who's buying the music, right? It's typically not people that are coming from the hood, at least who are spending in big dollars, you know what I mean? Like on a large scale, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that had something to do with the shift, where it was like the priority shifted from, you know, representing, being authentic, being true to your roots, creating our culture and having that foundation to like, yo, man, I just got to get mine. You know what I mean? I got to get this check. You know what I mean? And I think somewhere down that process, we kind of lost the way. But go ahead, Symbolic.
Yeah, the only thing is, like, when people say that, I push back on what they want to see, because, you know, when Public Enemy dropped, they were like, what is this? They wanted that. When they want our tapped in, honest communication. And whether they know it or not, they want that. But then the marketing people jump in the middle and say, oh, well, I know that what they want is this and this demographic. But if we just do what we do, they'll want that. That's what the world.
I want the brother Nubian to speak on that, like, you know, because you're absolutely right. And thank you for bringing up that point. Like Public Enemy, like when you look at their concerts and what their content, what they're talking about, is like blackity black. But when you look at the demographics, yo, it's diverse, and they're all
here's the reason why.
Fight the power.
The reason why for that is because when PE first started, they weren't getting any traction in the US, so they had to go to London.
Okay.
Do a show in London. That's how they got big. Okay. So London is always going to be their base, right? You listen to their second album. The confidence from London, right? The Fight the Power tour. So that's what got them big. So they will always go to London to do their thing. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when they came back to the States, and everybody's like, "Hey, PE, oh my gosh!" Right? The community. Yes, we definitely need community. That's first priority. That's very first priority, because we're so separated because of not just music, but politics in music. Right? We need voices again. And we need ears to hear those voices again. Because we had voices right? We had people that was in hip hop trying to reach the youth,
Right.
trying to get to the youth and everything, right? We had conscious rappers. The problem is, by the time the 90s rolled around, nobody wanted to hear them.
Mm. And
Right?
why is that though? Like why? Why do you feel?
Yeah, the question
Well,
is,
I found out that there was a secret meeting that took place in LA with a whole bunch of entertainment elitists that they wanted to completely get rid of conscious hip hop and bring in the gangster stuff to keep our minds on that docile submissive level. Because PE and all those guys was too busy uplifting us and they didn't want us uplifted. They want us submissive and docile. Even to this day, that's why they're in the trap.
Right.
And I keep
but
people,
you know what? We failed to make the correlation between us being docile and the dollars that are made from our state of being docile. You know what I mean? Like when we're docile as a people, right? At least when it comes to music, in that reference, right? The music industry banks. They make a lot of money on our ignorance. You understand? The moment we become more conscious and more aware of who we are, especially in the music, they can't make money off of us anymore. You understand? So, business perspective, right? Like let's put like conspiracy and all that stuff aside. Just from a business perspective, me as a businessman, if I know I can make 100 million off of you being ignorant, as opposed to making 1 million off of you being conscious, yeah, fuck that conscious shit. I want you to be ignorant. I'm gonna make 100 M's. You know what I'm saying?
So build on that, you know, from a business standpoint, because you know, as we know, like ignorance and destruction is, you know, profitable and whatnot. I just want to get into these comments. So I see Dying Thief, man. Shout out Eddie, man, doing amazing things in community. He says that he disagrees with the London comment. They were big in the States from the get-go. He said that London supported them, but they were speaking to our current struggle. So like Eddie's coming from New York as well. So I know he can definitely speak to like what was happening there. But I think like
Chuck D said it himself.
Sorry?
Chuck D said it himself. That's where I got the information from.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I think like London really just kind of blew it off the roof. Like that's not to say that people were not supporting, you know what I mean? Because the message did speak to them. But like when they went over to London, very similar to how like, you know, Canadian acts will go to the States and they get recognized and come back. Like that was just like their version of that, I see.
Even London acts come over here too.
Indeed. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Vice versa. King Spade man's coming through saying, he goes, yo, that's true. They're also trying to split up groups and make people be single artists only. You know?
Yep. I noticed that too.
That's true, because there was a lot of groups in the 90s that, when you really think about that,
there was a lot of groups.
That's so true.
There was a lot of groups.
Rap and R&B. Rap, I don't even see R&B groups anymore. Right. You know what I'm saying? Rap and R&B. Think about it. I grew up in a generation on B2K, Pretty Ricky.
Before that, man. Even before that.
Before that, right? Like the Boys to Men, right?
Hold on, real quick. Before we get into I want to spend some time, but I just want to go back to like the idea where the brother said one of the first like elements was community. And right off the top, when I think of like a group collective, that is a community. Because also when you're in a group, like you think like one man can come and swindle you, you got to consult like your collective now. When you're by yourself and you're just kind of like whatever, man, you may fall victim or prey to certain things. But when you're as a collective, it's like, hold on, we got to come back.
Yeah, we got to
come up with our movements. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, like you're right.
Because the thing is, if you look at what a culture is, in order to have a culture, you have to have two things: a country of origin and a mother tongue. Hip hop is the only music genre that is officially a culture. We have the United States, the country of origin. We have our own slang. We have our own way of talking.
Which is our mother tongue.
Right? And that's our mother tongue. So we're the only community. So I say we need to have community again. If we can get community again, we can blow this off like we did back in the late 80s, early 90s. Because back then you couldn't. There's no way you could have a weekend and not go nowhere.
Thanks.
And I'm not necessarily talking about clubs and whatnot. I'm just talking about a place to go where there's hip hop. You go to your boy's place and he's blasting in his backyard. You know, you go to your boy's basement, he's DJing, practicing his DJing, you're hearing hip hop all night. So there's always these little things that we can go to that we didn't need the establishment for. Right? And the first recognition of that was 88.1.
Come on, speak to it.
That was the first recognition that we didn't need the establishment to be ourselves. Right? Because remember they were calling 80.1 a pirate radio station.
Right.
Right? And then it got embraced so much that we ended up with a second pirate radio station, CHRY.
Right.
Mastermind.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And that's when hip hop really flourished in Toronto, because now we got two sources that we can hear music all day. And we got places that we can go to where we can see those same two DJs doing their thing.
Right.
I have a question. So it's about that. Why do you call it pirate radio? It's like community radio, right?
It is community radio, but they called it pirate radio. It was like people from the CRTC because it wasn't hooked up to the CRTC.
It wasn't hooked up to the system, so therefore
but they were community radio stations because they served the community. York served the community, Ryerson served the community, and U of T served the community. Right? So all three radio stations was only in Toronto.
That's powerful, man. Yo, Sambala, I don't know if you want to get in the chats, man. I see some comments real quick. I know that we're coming to the end of the session, though, man. But this is good, man.
Oh gosh, Flo, what's up, man? My boy Flo, I see him.
That's Flo 27 saying, tell him. There we go. The Dying Thief, he's saying facts. The meeting in LA is to support the prison business. I've heard some of this.
Yep.
I'm got my eye on that. I mean, if you look at the logic, it's doing that. So we got Easy Effects been saying that. Demolishes it with Beyonce and Destiny Child. Okay, I guess they're talking about that trend of Justin and Instinct. Solo get you the star power. Right. Dying Thief, when it comes to hip hop, they still honor the old school artists while we don't care for them. We look at them like they washed up. Exactly. That's a huge thing. We got to get back to that. Yo, you have no history. Like, everyone's thinking they're so important right here and right now, and you don't know you're going to be tomorrow in a day or two. Dying Thief said reggae music is cultural as well. And then Flows 27 says preach. Yeah, is there more? Okay, community radio equals no pay for play.
And that's why Ron Nelson started listing the songs when he played. He started making his list of songs that they do in real radio and sent it in, so that all those hip hop artists got paid.
Wow.
He was the only one to do that.
Big up the OG, man.
I gotta big up DTS and the Power Master Plan Show too. They're the longest running hip hop radio station. That I'm we're affiliated with them, so like I'm seeing their playlist. They're doing that. So when you explain that,
the same thing. That's right. DTS is doing that now. Big up DTS, man. I remember him from Powerhouse days, man. Wow, man. Believe me, I got stories on Powerhouse. Don't worry about it.
We're gonna have to like make this like a part 2, and even because like this conversation would be great for another podcast that I do called the Reminisce Show, and I do that with Mindbender on Tuesdays, and we really spend a lot of time going back in the archives. We really try to focus on the tradition of St. Kofa, which is sometimes we got to go back to collect what we may have forgotten. And a lot of this history that we don't understand within Toronto is so important and so crucial. And that's one of the reasons why I feel that we're just kind of in this, like, we're like kind of like blown in the wind, and we don't know like what's our anchors, what's our foundations, you know what I mean? So I just want to big up everyone for the conversation today. A lot of the stuff that came out of this, I'm going to be using on Thursday for our panel that's happening with Manifesto. I'll have the link in the when this gets reposted. I'll have the link so y'all can like register. It's going to be virtual as well as in person if y'all want to come through on Thursday to the Manifesto headquarters. And yeah, man, we got some special guests that's going to be there. I got Denisha Pendergrass, who's a good friend of mine, who's also one of Bob Marley's granddaughters. She's an incredible person. Spent a lot of time in Toronto, very much connected to reggae culture, hip hop culture, and has a really fascinating perspective about like consciousness and whatnot. Amazing filmmaker as well. Also got Tool Man coming through, who's part of a tribe called Red, who now they're called the Hallucination. You know what I mean? So we got our indigenous brothers, and I really wanted to like, you know, connect like the, you know, the African, you know, hip hop, you know, connection with some of the stuff that's happening in the First Nations, indigenous communities as well. And the fact that he's hip hop is great. And then we have Raz Fresco, you know what I mean, who is an artist, fashion designer, just an incredible, like just being, you know, someone who I've been working with very closely. He's also part of the 5% Nation. So he's going to be speaking from that perspective as well in terms of consciousness. And then we also have the brother Ernie Pena, Coley, man. Like, he is OG photographer, you know, OG photographer, hip hop pioneer, historian. He was there. If you already know what it is, man. Like, yo, the brother has been there since the beginning of hip hop, man. You want to talk about, you know, the self-destruction video, like he was there. You want to talk about LA Cool J's earliest videos, he was there. You want to talk about Public Enemy, he was there. You want to talk about the early days of Eminem and Lil Wayne, he was there. Jay-Z, you want to talk about Prince, he was there. You want to talk about James Brown, he was there. You want to talk about
Let me give you a tidbit on that. Apparently, Run DMC's first album,
he was
apparently there. Ernie took that picture.
There we go. So and that's just a little glimpse of like what he's about, you know what I mean? So he's going to be like, you know, sharing some of his wisdom and again, us to honor our you know, the foundation, the elders, you know what I mean? He's a very important person to me, to the culture, and I'm just excited to have him part of that as well. And then we have a few sisters, Cara Jade and Nicole, who are both First Nations hip hop artists. So they're going to be speaking from their perspective. So we really want to have the balance with the females and the men. And yo, so that's happening Thursday. Like I said, I'm going to put the link in the video description. Make sure y'all register online. It's free. It's going to be amazing and incredible. And you know what? Like, yo, I'm so happy for this conversation because I'm getting some really concrete ideas, and I really want to make this conversation meaningful. But I know, like on Tuesday, myself and Mindbender are going to be continuing these type of conversations. So maybe y'all want to join us over there as well. So that's Tuesdays. You know, again, I'm going to
Mindbender. You said Toronto Mindbender.
Toronto Mindbender. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? OG. Yeah. No doubt, man. So
wow, holy.
Yo,
yeah, the Reminisce Show. Yeah, man. I just give some big ups. The Reminisce Show is vital. Go dig in those in the crates, like conversations with people about the foundational times. I watch it. I was there at some of these times, and I'm like, no, I didn't know that side. Oh, wow, that's what's going on. Oh,
yeah.
Anyway,
I'm gonna be there. I'm definitely gonna be there.
Just to give you some people that we've past interviewed. I mean, we've interviewed Ernie Pena already. We've interviewed Daniel. We've interviewed DJ X. We've
Daniel.
We've interviewed Jonathan Ramos. We've interviewed Thrust. We've Unknown Misery. We've interviewed DJ Mike Stone.
Misery.
We've interviewed Collision from Top Dumpling.
Right.
Yes,
we got some archives, yo.
It's like you're bringing up history. As you're bringing up these names, instantly I'm having like visions and memories of what these names associate for me, right? Like, you know, as soon as you said Daniel, I'm like, oh, Perfect Strangers, Promise and Daniel. Like,
there we go.
Oh, that's nice. That's tough. That's crazy. Yeah. I'm gonna tune into the show.
You know, I'm gonna be there because trust me, I got some stories I need to tell, man, about Toronto hip hop, man.
Well, we're gonna plug you in, and I just love this, and this is why we create these spaces online, so we can just build and make it accessible, and just create that community, like you said, man, community, like it's something that's really that I just do naturally, but like now I feel like I'm gonna be even more intentional, like everywhere, like that is the foundation of everything, and that just like, you know, then things go where it needs to go. So we need to really like honor that, you know, almost similar to how like, you know, these days when we're talking about like the indigenous communities and we do like land acknowledgements before we even start meetings and whatnot, we need to like start utilizing some of those kind of practices, you know, to honor the foundations, and that kind of sets the tone, sets the environment. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And again, that same kofa, you know what I mean? Because sometimes we have to go back to collect what we may have forgotten. You know what I mean?
That's
Not
right.
to go back and dwell, but sometimes there's things that, because we're moving forward, where we may forget some things. And we got to go back, you know.
Somebody said to me, like maybe 2-3 days ago, they're like, you know, if we start to really view hip hop once again, less as a community, but more as a nation, right?
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can really bring back the element of hip hop. Then we can really balance out hip hop. Then we can really make the global impact we want. You know what I'm saying? When we become nationalist and have this national pride of, like, in terms of hip hop, and see hip hop as a nation, and less as a community. He's like, then, you know, he's like, then we can really do something. But you know, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just to add to that, you know, when I think about it, what makes, you know, hip hop really in a really great position to do that is, like, we're talking about a global nation. Like, you know what I mean? Because of where hip hop goes and where it is. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, this is, I don't want to say the new world order, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, yo, Symbolic, I know there's some last comments in the chats, you know, I want to get into those real quick.
Word up, word up. Give me a quick second to scroll down and catch myself. So, yo, I see here Dying Thief giving thanks and a nice black fist. And then asking about those links, which you will get if you just check once this is posted. 5% XX question mark. Is that
no? That's
is that
me. That's my rap name, Triple X.
Oh, Triple X. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
And we got some fire and some excitement over Ernie down in the chat.
Well deserved.
Hell yeah, for sure. So we need further discussion on Toronto's hip hop history and what New York has taken from us. Interesting.
You'd be surprised. You'll be surprised.
Okay, let's give some time for that. Go if there's something that comes to mind right now, let's build on that real quick. We got I'll give it a little couple more minutes, but go ahead.
And I'll just squeeze it. Pop is a nation. Facts. That was the last one that was in that comment.
You know what? I'm gonna connect it to what the brother said about the nation. New York rappers took our friendliness back to New York. They had no idea that Canada even had a hip hop community.
Okay,
because they kept calling Toronto Canada. They would never call it Toronto.
Yeah, they call it Canada. Facts.
But the thing is that after a while, rappers started going back and telling that, yo, you need to go do a show in Toronto. They got it popping up there.
Right.
They came to a point where Chuck D told Rakim. So Rakim came up here and did a show. He went and told Kane. So Kane came up here and did a show. And then Kane told everybody else.
Wow.
And so everybody started coming up. So that's one thing that came off the top of my head is our kindness, our genuineness for hip hop, our genuine love for hip hop. That when we see these guys, it's like genuine brotherly love. Yo, we're glad you're here, man. Yo, we hope you put on a good show. We love to see you guys. Yo, come back, man.
You know what I can say, what I can attest to in terms of like, just like, you know, being the youngest amongst you guys, like, I think the second concert I ever went to in my life was a Snoop Dogg concert. At a time when, like, Lil Wayne was, like, the #1 artist in the world. And, like, you know, like, at the time, the man were like, yeah, you know, we like Snoop. But, like, why are you going to go to a Snoop concert? I'm like, bro, you grew up on Snoop. Like,
right.
Because he's not #1 artist right now, he's, like, he doesn't mean anything to hip-hop anymore. Like, what are the man I'm talking about? But I realized Toronto, we still have, or at least had, you know, we had an appreciation for pioneers of the game in terms of, you'd see, like, even when I went to a Lauryn Hill concert, the opening acts were all local Toronto opening acts, but legendary opening acts.
Right.
You get what I mean? Like, you know, the Snoop concert, same thing. Like, Canada or Toronto as a whole, we have an appreciation for the pioneers. You know what I'm saying? For the icons. Unfortunately, in this new generation, I don't feel we show that love anymore, that genuine appreciation, because it's like, yo, if you're not now, if you're not new, like, you don't offer anything. But in reality, it's like, you couldn't be here without these guys. You get what I mean? So, like,
well, let me add to what you're saying, there, bro.
It's a really big deal in my opinion. You get what I'm saying? And the turnout.
You're speaking is truth, though. You're speaking truth, because look at the hip hop museum.
The turnout is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
It's mind-boggling to see that many Toronto people at an event for an old school artist. You know what I'm saying? First time I went to, I think I went with my cousin. My cousin tried to bring me to what's this guy's name? We just said it's KRS-One. KRS-One was in Toronto. My cousin's like, yo, come, we're gonna go see KRS-One. At the time, I really wasn't hip to KRS-One, so I'm like, I'm not trying to go there, fam. Like, I don't want to hear this guy. This is the guy that's always preaching. Like, I could go to church if I want to hear that. He's like, you see, that's your problem, bro. You don't appreciate it. Just come. Bro, we couldn't get inside. We got there, we couldn't get inside. I was like, all these people in Toronto are here for this guy? He's like, yes.
Yeah.
That was
that's
mind-boggling.
That's the Toronto that I grew up on, man. Yeah.
My mind was boggled. I'm like, yo, all these people here are from Toronto and they're here to see this man. Fam, I got to get up on this guy because obviously he's much more than I thought he was. I thought this guy was just a preacher, man. But look at the turnout. The turnout itself should tell you something. You know what I mean? And like, it was just crazy seeing that. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Go ahead, brother. Nubian.
No, I was gonna say just to add to what he was saying about the older ones doing it. Look at the Universal Hip Hop Museum. That's done by pure old school cats.
Yeah.
None of the new school cats did that.
facts.
So the young cats now has to give respect. They have no choice now. Because of the fact that there's now a building that they can literally walk into and see the hip hop history.
Right.
And that was built up by old school OGs. They have to give respect to the OGs. They have no choice now.
I agree. Unfortunately, respect is not something everybody comprehends nowadays, but that's a conversation for another time.
True that.
All right, man. Well, yo, that concludes at the end of today's session, man. Yo, like I said, man, y'all got to join us, man, for on Thursday for the Manifesto Summit that Stolen from Africa is going to be hosting, called, Hip Hop's Role in Raising Consciousness. Man, we have like a lot of incredible people. Like I said, Denisha Pendergrass, who's Bob Marley's granddaughter. We got Tool Man, who's part of Hallucination, aka Tribe Called Red. We even got brother Ernie Pena Coley coming through, man. Hip hop historian, pioneer in documentation. Go do some research on him, man. It's gonna be crazy. And a whole bunch of others hosted by myself and Mindbender. We also have like another podcast called the Reminisce Show, which we archive a lot of like Toronto history and some of the foundations and really build that community, man, so we don't get lost in the sauce. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I'm gonna have all the information in the description of this video when I post it. But I want to big up everyone for coming through. We do this every Monday, 11 a.m. You Good Fam virtual check-in, and this is what it's all about, man. Building community. You know what I mean?
Hey, Logic. Sorry, quick question. Where can we tune into the Reminisce Show tomorrow?
That's on Facebook for all y'all older heads, but I'm also have a link on YouTube and Twitch as well. So that's like YouTube / All Day SFA. That's like the YouTube or the SFA channel. But like I said, I'll put all the links in the chat or in the description so y'all get tuned into some of our things, man. Because it's nonstop, man, and we're building this nation. Brick by brick right now. You feel me? So salute to everyone. Nation. Yo, this conversation was blessed, man. Incredible build. And yeah, man, we'll see y'all, man, on Thursday, man, for Manifesto.
Bless up, everybody. Bless up.
Strong. Yeah.
Bless, man. Bless.
Peace, y'all.